very good morning to you, Mr. Sam. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right, let's delve right into it, sir. Yesterday at the presidential villa, we saw the swearing in and oaths taken of the new defense minister, retired General Christopher Musa, alongside the minister, the chief of defense staff, and also the national security advisor, alongside other dignitaries. And part of the measures that were taken yesterday, or some of the comments that were spoken, was the comment of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that had charged the new defense minister to ensure that he secures Nigeria. Just one task: secure Nigeria. What do you think this new dispensation will bring for Nigerians, and also how will it affect our security situation in the country as it stands now?
Thanks for having me. It was a good development, as it were. I think for a long time now, getting a retired general, to handle that position, because what had happened before this time, having two former governors, hold the position of the Minister of Defense and the state aspect of it as the Minister of State for Defense. And, the situation has come under serious criticism, given the history and the perceptions of the two gentlemen that were there. Okay, one is still there, even as people are clamoring that he should leave, so that there will be full sanitization of the place. But then, having said that, General Musa is not coming with any magic wand, as it were, given that when he was there, having the guns and the command, things were still not going right. Security situation did not improve, right? So now that he's coming more or less like a civilian, I wonder the magic he's going to do, when those that are having the guns and the commands, have not been able to do so. But then what he said is the right thing to say, because you can't disillusion your people and hope. So he must cast that hope that, oh, look, just give me a while. I will get this situation, under control, So he said what naturally he should say. But then the broader issue about insecurity is what government can do, not what General Musa retired, can do. No, that's why I get it quite concerning when I hear so many commentaries on what he will do now and how he's going to control the situation and all of those. I'm not fascinated about it, because he doesn't have what it takes as General Musa retired to do it. All he will do, as a matter of fact, right now he's even in a dicier situation, because when he was there, just as I said, yeah, with the guns and the command, nothing much happened. Now that he's coming in as a civilian, I wonder what he's going to do, because
But Mr. Sam, some people have asserted,
to the CDS
Mr. Sam,
and Abu General.
Mr. Sam, some people have asserted that at
Yes,
the
I can hear
time,
you.
some people have asserted that at the time when the former CDS was in office, the level of attacks that we were seeing, incessant attacks, were quite low. And immediately after he was retired and left office, it was like there was some sort of sudden surge of all these attacks, abductions, killings, and the rest all across the country. So people have even asserted that maybe, just maybe, these non-state actors in the person of terrorists and bandits were just waiting for him to leave office before resuming their onslaught on Nigerians. And now that he's back in office as Minister for Defense, it's going to be business as usual for the military, and not business as usual for the bandits. Is that something you subscribe to?
Yes, Chijoke. You see, why I said what I said is because, yeah, he must have done one or two things. But those things, actually, we have a very broad insecurity issue where if you do 30%, the impact will not be much. So what I'm saying in essence is that, look, General Musa retired, yes, having done one or two things when he was there. If he had done very well, how come he was removed? How come he was retired? You see, that's why we also have this helicopter look at the insecurity and the leadership, wheel around it. Because if somebody is doing well, why should you remove the person? Why should you retire the person? You don't even create that avenue. You don't create that room for the person to leave. You rather create room for the person to stay. We have been here. The IGP was supposed to go, but they created room for him to remain for whatever reason. Yes, so they also have, the leadership also has that authority, has that the powers to say, oh, this guy will not go because he's doing very well. So those are some of the contradictions we see. That is why nobody can come out as a Nigerian and say something and maintains that is definite. No, because there are a lot of correlations, a lot of mixtures, and so that's exactly what I'm saying. So what I'm saying in essence is that, yes, now that he has come and he has promised Nigerians, it's good we wait and see what he will do. I have one thing. I've interacted with so many people, even in the media, we've interacted, and they say, look, General Musa retired. He's a nice guy. He's a jolly good fellow. He interfaces and interacts with almost everybody, which is a good one for him. Because when you're talking about security, you need information, right? And anybody can give you information. Anybody can give you information. And because you make yourself accessible to people, they'll be willing to interface with you. They will be willing to assist with information. So that's one thing that is going good for General Musa, that he's a jolly good fellow and he interacts with people, even when he was the CDS.
Now, Mr. Sam, let me come in here, because when we talk about the man, we also talk about the role and office is supposed to assume. Talking about his disposition as a person, yes, indeed commendable. But when it comes to the difference in office, during his screening on the floor of the Red Chambers, some lawmakers also raised the concerns as to if he'll be able to differentiate his role as former CDS from his ministerial appointment now. For you, what do you think is of utmost importance in how he administers the role? Yes, ministerially, he has to do with a lot of coordination, but still understanding the tactical and technical difficulties of the situation we're in should come as an added advantage, don't you think so? How does he better adjust to his new role, in your opinion?
Yes, Bito, I like what you said. It will add an advantage because he's an experienced security personnel, and now he's working in the administrative cadre, so he will combine both. And as a matter of fact, that's what many Nigerians have been clamoring for. Bring somebody that has been in the field to head that ministry. It will add value to it, and that is what has happened. As a matter of fact, we need to commend the president for having done that, because what General Musa is going to do now is so much of the administration and the field work, because he was there. So he could wake up one morning and say, look, CDS, look at what you need to do. Look at what you need to do. The army chief, look at what you need to do. Look at what you need to do. So those directives, those information, those Phillips will assist them in doing better in their roles, because he was the man that was there, and now that he's on this other side, he can actually, juggle in between and get something better done. That's the truth. So I agree with you that he's coming with some kind of advantage onto the security architecture of Nigeria.
Now, Mr. Sam,
that is a good one.
Mr. Sam, coming to point number 2 is on positions of the office of the NSA and the Minister of Defense in himself. During his screening as well, he made a few recommendations. I don't know how that translates in terms of implementation, because he has suggested that one of the most prominent issues is a withdrawal of all military men from checkpoints across Nigeria to allow the police and civil defense tend to those issues. That he would rather the military focuses on flushing out bandits from their hideouts and hotspots in the forest. How much of a tactical difference is this, and do you think that deployment of military personnel on the checkpoints somewhat deters their roles in fighting terrorism and banditry?
Thank you so much. You see, we have been saying that all the while, that why do you bring these people that are supposed to be at our borders, securing us on the road? You see, it's because of, I think, the kidnappers and the bandits and the terrorists. I think they look down on the police, the Nigerian police. That's why they brought them. Because when you see a soldier, you know that he's ready for war, right? And what these guys have done over the years is more of a war situation than a mere civil unrest. That is the truth. That is why they brought them to the roads. That is why they brought them to checkpoints, right? So we can't really fault them so much, because if you don't secure our internal roads and internal vicinities, and you go to the border and you're securing us there, and they are here internally and killing us, that means something is missing. There's a leaking miss. So what we are trying to say is this: in as much as, yes, they are not supposed to be on the road, they're not supposed, it's not their conventional duty to do, but then it is adding to check insecurity within the cities, within Nigeria. So if you take all of it to the borders, and the internal security is suffering because of what we are seeing, the kind of arms and ammunition the bandits, the terrorists have, our policemen don't have them, right? So bringing in the aspect of the military to come and assist the police, as it were, I think is very key. So General Musa might not getting it very right by asking those guys to withdraw. I tell you something, if those guys withdraw, if they withdraw from those roads, those checkpoints, you will see what will happen. You see what will happen.
Now,
the situation will go back.
Now, Mr.
Right?
Mr. Sam, beyond just looking at the military and the police, in terms of safeguarding our borders, or ensuring that the security and safety of lives and property of Nigerians within the country are also, put into cognizance. How about other security agencies? Talking about the NSCDC, the immigration, the Nigeria Customs, both of them which are also stationed at our borders and all. What role do they also have to play in all of this? Because they also have operatives, combatant operatives, who carry weapons and ensure that their first duty is to secure the lives and property of Nigerians before carrying out their secondary duty, which is, in the case of customs now, ensuring that illegal items don't come into the country. Where do we place them?
Thank you so much. You see, why we're having this kind of situation is because of the way we have run all these systems over the years. Ordinarily, the army, the military shouldn't have anything to do with the immigration job or NSDSC's job. They shouldn't have. But because the way we have, you see, it's a perception thing, as a matter of fact. It's a perception thing. When you see a soldier, you are afraid. When you see a civil defense person, you are like, this is one of the civilians, what can he do? You see an immigration officer, even as he's having his gun, or a prisons officer, when he's serving guns, but you are not afraid of them. That is what we have seen in this country. We Nigerians, even the criminals, are mostly afraid of the soldiers. So that is actually why it is seen as if the military is overwhelmed and overworked. But that is the truth. Because you see them do the job of immigration, do the job of prisons, do the job of civil defense, just because of that perception that, oh, if you see the soldier, you know that he's ready for war. So what we need to do right now is to begin to rejig the training and operations of the civil defense, the immigration, and others, including the police. Assuming we bring the police now to man all these checkpoints that the military have been doing all these years, I tell you something, as I said earlier, you will see that things will begin to happen to the contrary, because even the bandits and the kidnappers, they feel, oh, if it's police, please, let's go. That's the situation. It's a perception thing, and that perception has been here over the years. So what we need to do is to begin to change that narrative. And how do we go about it? We go about it by training and operations, and by making sure that, see, you know, when you're coming close to the military checkpoint, all of us have passed through them. You don't feel anyhow, because the first thing you know is that they are not going to ask you for bribe. They won't ask you for bribe. They will just check you, and you know the way they behave. Those guys are good. Those guys are good. I give it to them. But even when you see police, these people again, with this, they are 200 naira, 500 naira. That is the mentality, and everybody feels that. Look,
But how do we correct how do we correct that impression on the minds of Nigerians, and also how do we reorientate the police force to do better and cleanse itself of this negative narrative that has already been stamped on the minds of Nigerians?
Chidoke, you see, it's not going to be a very easy job, because when something has been the system for years, for decades, but then we must start from somewhere. We must start from somewhere. Remember, when road safety came out, they were not collecting anything on the road. They were not. In fact, they had a monitoring unit, to the extent that they would dress down, use one vehicle that is not very good without documents, and they will drive past, and they will stop them. Their police will stop them and ask them for their documents. They will begin to babble, blah, 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 blah. And the guy will now try to offer them something to see whether they will collect. I tell you, this is what happened when road safety came out. When they came on board, that was the system. So road safety people were so afraid of collecting bribe from any motorist, because they wouldn't know whether it's a setup, whether it's their officer. They would raise them, use one rubbish car without documents, right, and meet them and try to bribe them. And they will say, no, we don't take bribes. That was how road safety started. I'm trying to take you through history now, because you asked me, how can this perception change? Now, today, road safety is no more like that, and that is the perception we are talking about. That's the perception we are talking about. So, but just as I said, we can start from somewhere. If they pull out the military on those checkpoints, what they need to do, let's start from there now. This is my own recipe, right? What they need to do is to bring in the policemen, mix them up with civil defense, and replace them on those spots with these people where the military used to be. And now send some monitoring teams to those spots. So let us see whether we can see them say, no, we don't take bribe here. All we need to do is to check you. That's all we need to do. That's why we're here. When they do that over time, and people begin to say it and speak it, the perception will start changing. Look, are you there? Beat, are you there?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Now, Mr. Sam, as much as it's good to have a change of perception and rebuild public trust in the confidence of citizens when it comes to how the police enforces law and order, this rejig with withdrawal of military from checkpoints has also been met with a directive by President Bola Tinubu to withdraw all police from VVIPs. But we have some fact-finder reports that up until now, some VVIPs still enjoy police escorts. How do we achieve this enforcement in totality? And do you think that the NSCDC is well equipped to handle protection of critical infrastructure and the new role as the fishing pond for VVIP escorts?
Yes, Vito, you see, that's the point I'm making. Let me tell you what's happening right now. The VVIPs, their policemen are no more wearing uniforms. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the strategy they're now using. They're not wearing uniforms again, but they're policemen. At least this is from my investigation.
And this is something you have confirmed, Mr. Sam?
I don't know how you want to ask me whether I've confirmed it. I say it's my investigation.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So you can investigate it too and find out what's going on.
All right.
Right? Seeing some of those things around, So what I'm trying to say in essence is this. You see, there's no direct route to checking insecurity in this country because of the depth of it, right? But then we can start from somewhere, as I said. We can start from somewhere. The VVIPs, yes, why not? The civil defense people can take up that challenge. After all, many of them are not even being pursued by anybody. It's just their conscience that is pursuing them, right? It's their conscience. That is what is their problem. Not even that anybody is after them. So, civil defense people can take up that job and let them start from there. And we do.
All right.
The policemen go into other areas. But then, you just listen to my recipe this morning, that let us begin to change the perception of what the police can do as they're pulling out these military men from those checkpoints. They should replace them with a mixture of policemen and civil defense and then monitor them.
Well, Mr. Sam is still on the line with us. Hello, Mr. Sam. Did you listen to the words of the Defence Minister and also that of Bishop Marty Kuka? What do you have to say about those two? Hello, Mr. Sam? Yeah, well, I can hear you now. Could you repeat your comment?
Yes, I said there was no audio in what they said.
Okay, well, just to wrap it up before we move on to yet another matter in the news, in conclusion, what is your assessment or projection for the new minister's appointment? Do you think that at the end of the day or in the long run, Nigerians might see some changes happening within our security architecture?
Yeah, definitely yes. Definitely yes. General Musa retired. He's going to do something positive. Particularly, there's something about leadership. Sometimes, if you're a good leader, people will work for you. They will work because of you. That's one thing about leadership. I've been a bank manager. I know if you handle your staff well, they will come and tell you things that you never expected. And they're ready to work for you, not for the organization anymore. That's what I've learned as a leader. So because of General Musa's welcome personality, he has a welcoming personality. People will work with him. People will assist him with
now, Mr. Stam, talking about his personalities, let's also speak to the images on screen. Looking at him seated next to his wife there, alongside the principal officers from the National Assembly, the Senate President there, and Senate Leader Senator Emi Bamidele, people are pointing to the fact that his appearance following retirement also speaks to the issue that he is embracing life outside the uniform. Whilst, of course, he has his orderlies there attached to him. Quite symbolically, he appeared in plain clothes and vowed that his work begins immediately, saying that he would deliver in earnest. How symbolic is this in your opinion?
Quite symbolic. Quite symbolic. He will actually he will put up a good job. That I can tell you. He's a nice guy, and people have spoken good about him. So if he was nice as a military person in uniform, now that he's a civilian, that means his integration will be full scale, and that will help him get ready to do his job.
Now, the Archbishop of the Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Matthew Kuka, did give a lot of confidence reposed in the appointment of retired General Christopher Musa to deliver on the job, speaking on the challenges in line with the insinuation of country of particular concern as dubbed by the United States and the alleged Christian genocide. Does such a, would I call it, an attestation from a cleric do more to this appointment?
Yeah, you see, the only loophole in Bishop Kuka's speech is what has just happened recently. The comment he made on, the genocidal thing of the Christians and all that. That his conversation was not good for him at all, and that is why many Nigerians are now taking what he will say and what he says now with some pinch of salt because of that comment. You see, that's why we tell people, when you're in authority, when you're in positions, you must know what to say. You don't say anything for any political or any interest reasons at all. So Bishop Kuka has been a man that people have been swallowing, whatever that comes out of him. But his recent comment about the CPC thing, has eroded part of his personality. But I just believe, because after that, he started explaining what he meant. And people are like, oh, you shouldn't have even said before you now start explaining what you meant. So I believe that with time, he will get over it, and people will begin to have so much confidence in him. But for what he said, yes, he's a good one, and he should add to the confidence Nigerians will repose in General Musa.
All right, then.
All right, Mr. Sam, let's move on to yet another matter in the news this morning, still staying around the presidency and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's nomination of about 6 individuals, 6 envoys, to represent Nigeria internationally in different countries. And we hear that they are set to, step into the chambers of the Nigerian Senate to be screened. And some of these individuals are retired military personnel, some are politicians, and the rest. What is your assessment of the president's 65-man list nomination for ambassadorial positions?
Yeah, thank you very much. That nomination would have come earlier than now, but he delayed it for whatever reason until this CPC matter came up, and he's hurriedly packaging it. So what I think is that, you see, he has made some nominations, and Nigerians have said, look, some of these nominations are not in tandem with what he should be, given the pedigree, the personalities, the character of some of those people nominated. What people expect the Senate to do, the National Assembly to do in the confirmation of those guys, is to be critical about it. Those that they feel shouldn't be there, given, you see, public opinion is very powerful. What the people say, what Nigerians say concerning people, that's why if you don't take account of those things, if you don't put them into account, we will not get a better society. Because when you do, people will begin to change for the better. Just in case they are nominated for anything tomorrow, people will not kick against them. That's the essence of it. And that is part of when we talk about national orientation and all of those. You must behave well. You must talk well. Right? You must carry yourself well. So that in case there's anything that comes for you, people will not kick against it for reasons they can elucidate. Just as they've elucidated reasons why some of those nominees cannot fly.
Now let's look at some of the reasons. Let's look at some of the reasons in specificity. One of them is the fact that some appointments viewed as apolitical are now being re-seen through a different light, more like the mention of the former INEC chairman as pastor of the nominees. The former sole administrator in Rivers State is also part of the nominees. When persons like that were appointed in their role, people said that they were apolitical. But now that they've been pegged on the cards for an ambassadorial nomination, do you think that there might be some fine lines or thin lines as to where their political loyalty lies going forward?
Yeah, Bito, thank God you mentioned names now, because I didn't want to mention names. But you see, what's the perception of Nigerians about the former INEC chairman? What about the man, the sole administrator in Rivers State? And the Reno Mockery and all of those, FFK and all of, we've heard them mentioned, right? So that's exactly what I'm saying. You see, we've had this during President Buhari's time, when the military chiefs that were criticized about not doing their jobs well, were also given, I think it's becoming another thing. That situation, you see, you know how Nigeria works. That situation is becoming another culture we are building here. Just like governors to the Senate. Every governor wants to go to the Senate, from governor to senator. That's the culture that we are built here. So we are building another culture in this respect of foreign affairs, where people that you want them to escape the country's criticism, you just take them abroad, and make them ambassadors, so that people will forget about them and forget about their trajectories here. You see, so that is another culture that's building up, which is not right. Let's call a spade a spade. All these things we are doing, you see, all that they're doing, if they think they're convincing Nigerians, I tell you totally, they're not. They're not.
Now, Mr. Sam, let's talk about the screening process, because a breakaway from tradition during the screening of retired General Christopher Musa as the Minister of Defence saw the take a bow and go ritual discarded. The Senate President said that the severity of the matter would not allow for such a tradition to come to bear in his screening. But now for the 65 nominees, do you think that some would enjoy this privilege owing to previous positions held in government, or should the same thorough screening or grilling be deployed in coming down to the final nominee list of those who would represent Nigeria's special envoys?
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, in processes, right, there are indicators. You don't flout those indicators, even when you think they are not going to add up, right? What am I saying here is that, you see, that system of take a bow, many Nigerians have been criticizing it, that is not what it should be. Ask the people the questions and let them respond. Taking a bow is very childish. It's unprofessional. Honestly, it is unprofessional. Put the questions across to them. Let them speak. That's why we talk about manifesto. You see what is going on now in this country? They're killing manifestos. Because people want you to come and speak to us. Hey, you're a good guy. Even as, what do you call him now? Mr. P2B, everybody seeing him as a nice guy. But that does not stop him from coming out to talk to people and tell people how he will do. Let them listen to him, right? See, what I'm saying in essence is that those people, the tradition, the culture of take a bow should get out of this system. Who don't need it? They should query everybody, no matter your status. Even if you had been an ambassador before and you're going back, they should talk to you. They should ask you questions, and you must respond to the questions. That is what it should be. So the culture of take a bow shouldn't even be mentioned. It's wrong. It's unprofessional. It shouldn't be mentioned. See what is happening. Okay, talking about the tax laws. Do you know that in this new tax reform, even when you don't need to pay, but they say you must file it. That is due process. Even though you are not supposed to pay, you don't have anything to pay, but you must file your transactions. Yes, below 50 million and all of those things. Yes, but you must file them.
Mr.
That is
Sam,
the
do
essence
you
of due
think
process.
that Mr. President should perhaps, review this 65-man list, considering the fact that Nigerians are beginning to accuse the presidency of nominating these certain individuals on this list as a form of payback for, some sort of voluntary work that they have done in pushing the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in a good light, and also in propagating the renewed hope gospel.
Okay. Thank you so much. You see, it has happened with even the previous governments. This compensatory thing has been there. Somebody work for you and you want to, thank him for working for you. It has been there. But when there are some certain things you do, you must look at the feelers. You must put those things into consideration. How will this thing look when people see it? So the more they reduce it, it might not be totally out of place, no doubt. But then they must know those ones that are very sticky, very, very sticky. That everybody will know that, oh, you're doing this because this man did this thing, and incidentally did a wrong thing. If it were to be a positive thing for you, you know what I mean now. For you, it is positive.
Yeah.
For the country and the citizenry, it is not. That's the point I'm making there. Somebody has, don't want a bad deal for you, and you want to compensate him, and the whole country is aware that what he did for you was a wrong thing. People will come against it. People will come against it. When you are doing such, you must be so circumspect so that it doesn't ruin your leadership. That is the truth. But whether they do it, yes, they do. Whether it can be done, yes, it can be done.
Yeah.
But then it must be done in a very measured, and accountable manner, as it were.
Now, Mr. Sam, on the subject of accountability, before now, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration cited the need to cut down on the cost of governance and said that having ambassadors would be a cost too heavy to bear. Between 2023 and now, what do you think has changed now that the administration has made more or less a U-turn and is looking to employ the services of 65 envoys? Do you think that those recommendations on cutting down the cost of governance have somewhat become, what I call them, obsolete? Hello, Mr. Sam, can you hear me?
Well,
It seems as though Mr. Sam's connection is faltering, but many who follow the developments, particularly with recommendations as made in the 2014 conference.
I think CP has changed the situation.
All right, welcome back. Have your say, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. You can carry on.
Yeah. I said what has changed is the CPC. What has come from America has changed the trajectory. It has changed the system, because having ambassadors, right, becomes necessary to support your effort in keeping the right state of affairs, as it were. Because you see what happened. America says something and nobody is there to defend you. Nobody is there to liaise with them. Nobody is there to do some lobbying as an ambassador. So what the presidency has done is to say, look, we can do, if we go and get an American ambassador, an ambassador of America, and we don't get for other places, it will obviously look like we are responding to CPC. So to make it a holistic thing, let's go the whole hog and create, ambassadors for all the countries. I think that's what has happened. Having that change of decision abruptly, no doubt was orchestrated by the CPC threat, and I think it's the right thing to do all the while.
Hello, Mr. Sam.
Yes.
All right. I understand your point on the CPC mandating this urgent action on the part of the government, but that excuse that we might not be able to accommodate it. Of course, if you recall, they also just announced projections for 2026 to 2028 in the medium-term expenditure framework, over 50 trillion naira, which 20 trillion naira is said to be in deficit. This appointment would also need some budgetary provisions to back the functions of the offices that these envoys would, by inference, accommodate. Do you think that we have the finance to follow through with the appointments?
Definitely we have. Nigeria is so rich. Oh, okay. Now, Bito, let me ask you. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, we were talking about Renewed Hope ambassadors. Do you know how much that was expended on those vehicles and that setup? You see, let's not be deceiving ourselves. They can't deceive us. Leadership cannot deceive Nigerians that we don't have money to pay ambassadors and maintain their offices, and that is why we've not appointed them and all of those. They don't add up. After all, before now, ambassadors have been there. How were those governments that were there before President Tinubu, how were they paying them? How were they maintaining the offices? Yes, I know that even when the other governments were there, most envoys were having issues with funds. They were complaining how the offices were not maintained, how they were not paid, and all of those. Yes, there were such concerns. But then that shouldn't automatically make it that we won't have them in those countries. Yes, it should be a diplomatic thing. And I wonder whether there's any country that wouldn't want to play in the diplomatic space. So Nigeria must play, right? So talking about funding is not a problem in this country. It's not a problem for Nigerians to Nigeria.
All right.
What we're having here is a problem of how these funds are being expended and what they are spent for.
Well, interesting and very important questions you have raised there, Mr. Sam. Let's move away from the 65-man list envoy to other matters of political concern. Now, it's ahead of the 2027 general elections and preparations by different political parties. Much recently, we saw former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar picking up a membership card of the ADC and, fully identifying as a member of the ADC, something that was met with a lot of jubilation and, support from his followers and supporters. But this morning, the ADC coalition is a little bit upset with Mr. Peter Obi over his indecision concerning the party. He appears to be one leg in, one leg out of the party. And also this morning, we got comments from Peter Obi himself stating that he is a part and parcel of the Labour Party. What is your assessment of this entire situation? And why do you think Peter Obi is indecisive about the ADC?
Thank you so much. That's the lead. It's the lead story of New National Star this morning.
Exactly.
Concerning Peter Obi and the ADC. Yes. So, Peter Obi is trying to play smart. Otherwise, these guys will mess him up. For former Vice President Atiku, I think he has caused so much problem. Even what PDP is passing through today was caused by him. And I think it's enough of his political troubles because everybody, you see, if you say you don't know your worth, let me say that you start, assessment of your personality by knowing your worth, self-worth, right? Former Vice President Atiku is behaving as if he doesn't understand his self-worth. I think that is very unfair to himself because over the years, he has been there in the political space, from one party to another and all that, trying to grab the presidency. He was a former vice president, but all that he wants now is, I want to be a president. I want to be the president of Nigeria. And the thing is not working out. Why not let go? Yeah, people will tell you that until you can vie for 7 times, Americans have done it and they've succeeded and all of those. But for crying out loud, Vice President Atiku Abubakar by now should have learned that, look, Nigerians are not even interested in him anymore. Politicians in Nigeria expire by whether time frame or their activities. That is why Peter Obi is still a very wonderful bride today, because of the way he has carried on. Even after 2023 election, went the other way, right? He has still carried on. So for Mr. Obi, trying to play here and play there, that's the right thing to do for now. Because we've heard Atiku say that he's going to contest. And he's going to contest under ADC. And if Peter Obi joins and fights it out with Atiku, Atiku will definitely win him over because of money. Peter Obi doesn't have that knack to give so much money, right? So,
but Mr. Sam, do you think that maybe
you try it, you vent there and didn't get.
Do you think that maybe Peter Obi is stating that he is still a member of the Labour Party due to the fact that Atiku had much recently confirmed his, membership of the ADC, and now he feels threatened that even if he joins the ADC, he stands no chance of contesting the 2027 general elections?
Exactly what I've just said. If he joins ADC,
yeah,
and Atiku in this his wisdom comes out, automatically Atiku will win him, because Atiku has a deeper pocket. So he will give much more money to the delegate, because he's the delegate here, and he will win him. And when that happens, his opportunity has forestalled for this season, according to the new Electoral Act. So that is why he's playing safe until he sees a clearer picture, until he sees a clearer coast. He can go to ADC. But now he's still in Labour Party, and that is where he is. And he can tell you that over and over again because of the prevailing situation. So he just plays smart, and I think even the obedient movement guys are in his support.
Now,
Mr.
Sam,
let me tell you. Yes, please.
Yeah, land your point. Land your point, please.
Yes, let me say this. One thing that is certain about Mr. Peter Obi is that any party he comes out from, he will have that same massive support.
Now, Mr. Sam, on that point, I'd like to pick your thoughts on this, because the 2023 general election somewhat rewrote the history and the relevance of political parties owing to the rise of the obedient movement. And many are asking, if the obedient movement was so much of a success in 2023, does this chart the course for independent candidacy, and with the hopes of an independent candidacy gain the much needed backing from the National Assembly in making it become part of the law? Yes, we're talking about the need to amend institutions. We're talking about the need to constitute a national independent electoral offences commission. But there's very little being said about independent candidacy and how it can be entrenched into the laws of Nigeria. Do you think the obedient movement rewrites this history in some course? And should Mr. Peter Obi throw this as an area of strength, much like you've outlined?
I agree with you. You see, the independent candidacy thing is very important for some set of people, for some kind of people, those that don't have the deep pocket, to battle it out with those people, but they have integrity, right? There's transparency around them, and people love them at all levels, not even at the presidential level, even at the local government level. You can come out and stand on your own because of your value. Yes, I don't have money, but my people know that I can deliver, and they will vote for you. It's very important they do that. Very important. Very, very important. And if they do, someone like Peter, we can decide to weigh the option, So it's in order. I agree.
All right, Mr. Sam, before we move away from this particular topic, let's assess the ADC's strength, ahead of 2027 general elections. We all know what's going on with the People's Democratic Party and the mass exodus of, top political bigwigs from the party to the APC. We've seen governors exit. We've seen lawmakers exiting. We've even seen, low-level politicians also exiting the party. However, in the case of the ADC, most of the people who also exited from the PDP and who might have been considered a little irrelevant at the moment in Nigeria's political space are the ones moving in droves to the ADC. Do you think that this party has any chance ahead of the 2027 general elections? Maybe not to clinch the presidency, but do you think they will do well in the polls?
Thank you so much. I like the last thing you said. Not thinking about the presidency. Yes, they might not. That might not work for them. But you know, because of the big wigs in that party, some people will be able to win at other levels. That is what will happen.
Yeah.
But for the presidency, is no, no, no for ADC, and they know it. They know it. I don't know unless they rescind this their seeming, you know, tricky politics, and now allow somebody like P2B, you know, to come in and pick the ticket. That's when they will come to limelight in terms of presidential context. But as it were today, right? There's nothing much they can do concerning the presidential context.
No.
Have say that you see ADC, yes, ADC. Some of the people that make up ADC are people that Nigerians so much confidence in them. That is what will make the party not do as much. And one thing that what has happened to PDP has done is that is creating room for smaller parties to come up. You can see the Osun governor, you know, resigning from PDP and going to somewhere else. That is not APC. That is not ADC. So some other things will happen in that light, where some small political parties will begin to gain some grounds because of the bastardization, you know, the balkanization of PDP. So that is what is giving room to. It's giving room to some small parties to come up. And that's also good for Nigerian democracy, so that we don't end up having a caged, you know, basket of political parties, as it were. You know, so that is what is going to work out for other political parties that are not up there, you know.
All right then. Let's move on to another item on the program and bringing things back to a situation where residents of the FCT are very familiar with happenings in 2024 that led to a judgment outlawing the operations of the Vehicle Inspection Officers, VIO. That had been taken to the appeal court. The appeal court has also issued a judgment restraining them from imposing fines or impounding vehicles. However, the VIO is adamant on heading all the way to the apex court to make their case. What do you make of the judgment, and is the FCT and across the country really in need of VIO?
Thank you so much. You know, this VIO matter has been a recurring decimal. Tomorrow they will ask them to go back to the offices. Next tomorrow they will see them on the streets, and you begin to wonder what their interest is. You know, those people that are orchestrating this whole back and forth thing is because of their benefit. You know, because all the monies they make on the road, they account them all the monies to some people, and that is why you are having this pushback. You know, ordinarily, you know, statutorily, constitutionally, they are not supposed to do what they seem to be doing. And that has been said over and over again. It is not today that the thing has started. It's not because of the appeal court. The court judges have been there before now, even in Lagos State. So the truth about the matter, what should be done now, even if they like, let them go to heavens and appeal. It will not work, because they've caused more harm than good for the nation. You see them all over 30 of them on the road, as if it's a war front. What kind of thing is that? In fact, the media have reported this case of VIO over the period. That what is going on? Are we in a war situation on our roads? You see these guys being so vehement, being so rude, all for money. All for money.
Now, people have also stated that you know, in terms of carrying out their duty, it appears that they are having similar roles with members of the officials of the Federal Road Service Corps, that's FRSC officers on the road, and that once you pass a VIO checkpoint, just a few meters down the road, you could also see yet another checkpoint set up by road safety officers. So there's absolutely no point having, both of them on the road. Is this a move in the right direction from your own point of view?
Automatically, absolutely. They should collapse VIO into road safety. That's what they should do now. They shouldn't waste time. They should collapse them. Increase the manpower of road safety by collapsing VIO. Even when you talk about going to the office, what do you go to the office to do? It's the same thing. The same documentation you do at road safety.
I mean, when you want to apply for your driver's license,
running all these things.
Okay.
Because of interest here, interest there. Otherwise, it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. That what you do at the office of VIO, you check, you get this paper, roadworthiness, and all of those. Those things you can get them at FRSC. So why duplicating it? And the nation, the leaders know all these years, and they are leaving them to be causing all this trouble on the roads. So please and please and please, it is the right time to collapse them into road safety. Increase the manpower of road safety. That's what we'll do now with them, so that they will have more hands to work. That's what it should be. And we have some other prosecutors and agencies and commissions like that should be collapsed into another. They should do that. And remember that Orange paper talked about all those things. And at the point, government came out to own them up, to say, yes, we will do them. But today, they didn't do them. They did not. They've not. So they should please look at those things and do the right thing. And let's stop all these duplications. I think it's high time we did that. And remember that even in our universities, tertiary institutions, there was a time also they came up with, hey, some departments are not adding value. They are not bringing money. They are not doing this, they are not doing that. You come to a department that has only six students from year 1 to final year, and I asked them what's the essence of this. That they were talking about collapsing some of those departments. And some of those things should be looked into. I'm telling you, proportionately, they should be looked into. If you have a department that has six students in a whole department, why run it? Why run it? You're wasting public funds.
But in collapsing the VIO into the FRSC, how about the concern surrounding orientation? Because you will agree with me that when you interface with VIO officials on the highway or on the road, the entire mood and everything is completely different from when you meet an FRSC officer on the road. Do you think that collapsing them into the FRSC would, still be a good move? Or do they need proper reorientation, a lengthy one, before they start operating on our highways?
Thank you so much. I don't think there's any big deal in doing so and in getting them retrained, to come up to the training speed of road safety officials. It wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take much. After all, before they started all this hula ball on the road, they were calm. So going back to their calmness and to what it should be won't take much of training. That's the truth. So the earlier they do that, the better for the nation. That is the truth. It won't take anything for them to get them aligned with road safety training. It won't.
Now, in a bid to keep up with our lineup of subjects to be discussed on the program this morning, as we're coming to a close on our discussion this morning, let's see if we can accommodate more topics of concern. Now, earlier on the Daily Independent newspaper, the headline story mirrored the telecommunications sector, saying that telcos are facing growing scrutiny over poor quality of service, despite the increments in tariffs and debt paid. I remember at the start of the year, many Nigerians behoved on the FCCPC to ensure that the 50% telecommunication tariff hike was not brought to bear. But the telecom players cited the fact that the last hike was over decades ago, and with the cost of servicing and operations, it is much needed that they review tariffs upward. However, I don't know your personal experience with having to use data connection or call connectivity, but are you satisfied with the quality of service by the telcos, and does it justify the hike in tariffs?
Thank you so much. You know, when the issue of that hike came on board, they were not giving what they asked for. They made it clear what they wanted. You know, the percentage at that time, and Nigerians screamed, and and it was reduced. You know, and given the level of inflation that is ravaging the country, and vis-a-vis their services and their financial obligations, one would say that, yeah, their services are not very good. The question now is it only the telecom sector that is not rendering good services in spite of or despite, you know, all that they've received in terms of hike and all of those? And the answer is no, no, and no. Almost all sectors are not doing well in terms of service delivery. For telecom, yes, there are some poor network issues and all of those. But remember that House of Representatives, just yesterday, I did that story, you know, accused discos of causing the power supply issues we have in this country. And why are they talking about that? They listed the issues, right? So it is not only telecom that we're having such. It's all over. The only thing is a complete overhaul of our system, until we remove corruption from what we do. I listened to some people this morning talking about how BPP has done well in terms of the first Nigeria policy and all of those, commending President Tinubu and all of those. But then, if the aspect of corruption is not removed, we'll still be where we are. So for telecoms, yes, their services might not be good enough, but then what is the culture of service delivery in Nigeria? Are they going against it? The answer is no. That is what is obtainable elsewhere. And that is what they look at. Is a function of, hey, these people are doing it and nothing is happening. Why can't we do it? That is the culture we have built here, which is not good for the nation. So I'm looking at it from the helicopter view, the broader view of it, so that we don't just limit it to telecom as if it's only telecom that is faltering in good service delivery. No, it's not only them. Not only them, they're also trying to survive like others, making so much money and giving so little. And if we have built that culture, I mean, the Holy Book says that if the foundation is broken, what can the righteous do? And that is the mantra where we are.
Now, Mr. Sam, do you think that there are reforms that could be made to the telecommunications sector to make it less monopolistic in the way that it is, and also to ensure that Nigerians do not continue to be cheated over the quality of service that they receive from these telcos and still pay high tariffs for airtime and for data?
Thank you so much. You see, the first thing we will do is to remove corruption from the system, including the telecom system, because there are some things that they do that if you look at them, you know, you will see that so much is lost to corruption than the real job they're doing. That's why I talked about corruption. I talk about it so much because I know that that is the bane of the problem we have in all the sectors. But then beyond that, yes, you see the network problems. The question is the mast. Are they fixed where they are supposed to be fixed? go to many villages, they don't have masts. And the question is, who is supposed to provide masts? Is he going to go the way of NEPA, as in discos, where you are expected to buy your transformer, buy your meter, and all of those, and they still charge you? So we need to look at the facilities they have on ground, and it's the job of NCC. NCC is there to look at it. The Ministry of Communications is there to look at those things. The service providers, are they using the right equipment? Have they deployed the number of mass and other facilities to the places that are supposed to deliver them? What provisions in the course of the rebates they gave them, Nigerian government gave them, the subsidy, what we call it now,
tax exemption? Is it the tax exemption?
They have the rebate. Let me use the word rebate now. They've given them, the tax exemption they've given them. So what? Yes, the tax exemption they've given them. What have they done with it? So it's the function of the same government to go through these things and scrutinize the providers, because they should know where they are not doing well, where they are faltering in what they are supposed to do. NCC and Ministry of Communications, that is their duty, and they don't wait. They don't have to wait for the citizens to begin to put up a right. Some years ago, the retired colonel in Kano State, what was his name again? He took them to court. He took one of the providers to court that they were making calls and charging them when the calls were not going through, and the masses were behind him. Yet we have NCC, we have Ministry of Communication. Those are their jobs, to monitor what the providers do. We are in a nation where if you don't monitor what those that are serving you do, you will regret it, because what we will get at the end of the day will be very shocking. So they need to sit up. That's my take on it. NCC and the Ministry of Communication, they need to sit up
Now, in
and
closing,
monitor the provider and what they do.
now
And not collude. Please underline this. And not collude with them.
Now, Mr. Sami, in closing, let's look at some of the positives, particularly with news coming in from Imo State on the conduct of the Imo Economic Summit 2025, well attended by former Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, as well as Ban Ki-moon, amongst other dignitaries present. The president was represented by his vice, Kashim Shettima, talking about the potential of the Southeast to live above its challenges and attract the right investments. How would you summarize the activities of yesterday's economic summit in Imo?
Fantastic, very fantastic. I watched it live and I was happy with the governor of Imo State. He may have his issues, right? He may have his issues, but what I saw yesterday was overwhelming. I give it to him. He has done well. And I tell you something. Governor Uzodimma is not doing so badly. Where he's having issue is in the aspect of security. But in the aspect of what others that were there before him did wrongly that he's doing rightly, I think he needs to be commended. Because right now as we speak, Imo State is, I think it could be the highest paying state in Nigeria because of how he doubled salaries of civil servants. And the economy of Imo State now is on top gear, because there's so much money circulating within the state. Because when the civil servants are paid, and mind you, civil servants are paid monthly, that he's not owing salaries, and that's a big deal. Because before him, the Rochas of Crocher and the rest, they were owing salaries. But thank God for him, he has, stood against it, and he's doing his best. What I saw yesterday was something else. When I saw, Boris, I saw Timon, I saw Liberia president, I saw governors, and it was a very full house. And you saw what Orama said concerning, their collaboration, So, and at the end of the day, what Governor Uzodimma said is that there will be 24/7 electricity in Imo State, and he has started that stride by the Orasi electricity station.
Mr. Sam, while we commend the governors, Hope Uzodimma, for his giant strides in ensuring that Imo State is thriving well economically, you had mentioned that he has not done so well in ensuring the security of lives and property of the people of Imo State. Don't you think that could be a deterrent for, foreign direct investments coming into the state and could scare off investors, from engaging in any business activities in Imo State?
Thank you so much. I think that is where he needs to work on. He needs to work on. In fact, somebody, was telling me what happened in Imo State yesterday concerning the level of security that was deployed because of that investment summit. So what I'm trying to say, why I mentioned that is because if you want to get these investors to come, you must deploy security in the state. You must deploy security in the state. You must be all out to ensure that there's security in the state. And that he must do for what he has just done, to have the effective result that is expected of it. He must work on the security. And, the perception also, he must work around it. Because this perception that, the non-government men, are known to him, that perception is not very good. Because that is the perception out there, So he should find a way around it so that people will see him as, standing entirely for the state and the state security and not having a mixture of, what seems like it, right? So I applaud him, but I appeal to him that he must look at, deploying good security for the investments to come. Very, very important. Thank you.
All right, we must also thank you too for joining the discussion this morning. We appreciate you, and I wish you the best of your weekend ahead.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it too.
Have a nice day, sir.